Yo, what's poppin'? It's Tomathan, and this week we've seen a lot of Baptiste in the place of where Ana normally is in this meta. And so I just want to talk about why that is. Normally I do have clips to kind of like back that up and like show, but they're kind of difficult to find in this situation, but it's still real. I think it's pretty easy to visualize what I'm talking about anyway. So hopefully this is good enough with just some gameplay in the background. I do have one instance that I'll show because I started collecting some, but I was like, I don't want to spend 3 hours doing this. Sorry, but I didn't really want to. Anyway, so starting off, why was Ana being played in the first place? Well, obviously, it's pretty obvious. The same reason as always. You have big nades, you have big sleeps for self peel, and nano boost is pretty good. The nade, you hit a nade, it's a fight winner. It is a little harder to hit the nade, or it's not as much of a fight winner because you have D.Va now, who is able to eat the nade, especially if you dive. If you get dove on, the D.Vas are so good at this level, it's very hard to actually get the nade and try and turn that fight. Like Hawk, for example, he would eat that. He would eat the nade pretty easily, and then call it a day. And their dives, the dive's not going to turn around. And also, Zarya bubble, you hit a nade on the back line. Well, unless it hits multiple members, a Zarya bubble more often than not will be able to come out, hit the bubble, and then that's that. And that's the thing we talk about. If you're playing against a Baptiste, you have the immortality field that can buy more time. And then what? So nade, probably as the weakest it's been right now in the current owl meta. Then you have Sleep Dart, also the weakest it's been in the current owl meta, because again, D.Va DM, Zarya bubbles, stop that from happening. Even Winston, when we see a little bit of Winston gameplay, his bubble is still a good way to stop it. Now, not nearly as strong as a Zarya bubble or a D.Va DM at stopping it, but still mitigation. So Sleep Dart, maybe not as strong as it has been either. And then Nano Boost. Nano Boost is actually really good right now. You can put it onto a D.Va, you can put it onto a Genji, you can put it onto a Nano Blade. It's a really good ultimate. You can put it on your Zenyatta. We see it all the time. EMP comes out, boom, Nano the Zenyatta to keep him alive. So Nano Boost is pretty good. I do think Nano Boost is a little bit better than Window, but they're both good ultimates. So that's what Ana has going for her. What she doesn't have going for her is also that, her cooldowns can get eaten very easily or stopped with bubble. Whereas Baptiste, very different. When he gets dove on by a D.Va, he doesn't have to worry about the nade or the sleep dart getting eaten. He just hits his shift button, gains 100 HP and then some. I think it's 100 off rip and then 50 extra if you're below at half, which is insane. That's insane amounts of self-healing and team healing in general. And then you still can hit an immortality field if that's not enough to keep you up, which it isn't against a D.Va with micro missiles anymore or anything like that. So you do get that, but then you still have someone beside you. You still have peel tools, and that takes a lot of time to actually get that kill. So Baptiste definitely has better self-peel. I don't think that's very debatable, especially with exo boots. You have exo boots that you can jump up. Now, actually, I do have one clip, right? Let me quickly go over here. Let me pause this and go over to this one. So you can see here, Hawk goes on to Edison and Chio, but that quickly turns to Fielder. And Ana's just dead right now. Not right here. Ana's dead right here, pretty much. But he hits his shift. He gets a bunch of HP. Let's see if you can watch the health bar and see where he hits the button real quick. Watch this. Boom. It doesn't go down. It basically didn't go down because he hit shift. So he hasn't used his ammo yet. And he doesn't even need to, because Baptiste also a lot of more damage than Ana. So right here, Ana's definitely dead. It doesn't matter that Chio. No one really helped him here. Chio comes in at the very end. But other than that, not a lot of help, and Hawk just dies. So that's just like that's a core example of like Ana can't do that. Ana's not even up there in the first place. So Ana gives that high ground positioning. Hawk gets the dive off of the high ground, eats the nade, eats the sleep dart, probably kills Ana. Maybe not quite that fast because there is some mind games there between, oh, is he going to throw the nade? Do I have to shoot here? Do I have to DM there? Things like that. And then maybe Chio can come back in time, but it still doesn't result in Hawk dying, I would say 9 times out of 10. So that's where Baptiste is really good as well. And then there's the thing, well, if you're playing the Zenyatta, which you can play some Baps in, we saw a little bit, you can just throw your immortality field at the Zenyatta whenever he gets EMP'd, which we saw less Sombra gameplay, which I'm also going to credit to Baptiste. Because Sombra, right, you hack the Ana, you get the nade, you get the sleep dart. Normally, you can sometimes kill her fast enough. And even then, if she does manage to get the nade off, that's only 100 healing. And the sleep dart, maybe you have to back up from the sleep dart. With Baptiste, a lot of time you don't have to use ammo. You can just use shift because that's 150. Sombra doesn't like you kill the Sombra because you have the damage to do it. You don't. It's not a guaranteed using it ammo. That's not what Sombra's doing. Sombra's not forcing out ammo by going in. She will force out nade and sleep dart though, but she won't force out ammo. So I think that is partially the reason we've seen a lot less Sombra. Now, why Dallas stopped playing the Sombra into a competition like this? Maybe they just thought, we're going to be better all around. Also, the word is that, a lot of these top teams have stopped scrimming this patch entirely. So another possibility is that Baptiste is actually going to be on the playoff patch, and that's what's going to be meta in playoffs is going to be Bap. That's also a thought that you could have. I see that. And they're just like, well, if it's going to be good in playoffs and it's pretty good now, we'll just play it now. Why not? So that's a possibility. But yeah, that's like the main stuff for me. Now talking about window. Window is not very intuitive in this composition because you look at like what Dallas is doing right now. The only player that would use the window other than Fielder for healing and extra damage is Edison. Sparkle's not using it. Haman's not using it. Chio's definitely not using it. No, none of them are using it. So the window, most of the time, you plop it down, you do a ton of healing to keep up your tank, you call it a day. D.Va can use it a bit more because if you get dove, you can put the window on yourself and D.Va can shoot through it. So there's that, but it's a lot less intuitive than Nano Boost, which is a better space tool in this situation, especially against like a D.Va. You can send your tank to do things. You can use it a lot more versatility. It's more versatile. Because you can use it to save your guy, you can use it to create space, you can use it as a win condition with a Nano Blade or just a raw Genji in general, anything like that. But the window just doesn't have that. It's just like you put it down, you do some extra healing on your tank. You don't really take space with it right now, based on what people are playing. You do, but it's not as surefire as a Nano Boost in my opinion. But it's not useless. It's definitely not useless. Because even if you just use it for yourself in the BAP, you are an absolute machine. Like, with how much damage buff that BAP got for zero reason, you get a player like Fielder using that, you get a player like Shu using it, lights out. He's basically a soldier. He's better than a soldier. Because he can heal too. And he has better healing for himself. Like, it's nuts. But, yeah, so that's, hopefully that, outlines the main reason. It's just, better survivability. That's the main thing. The Ana nade, the risk reward on the Ana, not quite there anymore. The risk has gotten higher compared to the reward. The reward has lowered. The risk has stayed the same, basically. And it's just not needed in these kind of compositions. And then you're also more susceptible to Sombra, which is a very popular pick. So I guess BAP just kind of comes out on top. We'll see more this weekend. What's going on? I expect to see Shock especially play that Baptiste with Violet and Finn. I fully expect that, a BAP Zen composition coming out. And we'll see how they do there with probably a Sojo and Tracer D.Va. That seems like it should be right up in Shock's wheelhouse, and they're the only really good team playing this weekend from NA, unless Toronto suddenly get good. Toronto will be interesting to watch too, if we put Twilight on the BAP. Or Churro even, maybe, but I don't know. Anyway, let me know on your thoughts. Do you like the BAP more? Do you like the Ana more? Which one do you think is better? Which one do you enjoy watching more? And all things like that. Like this video if you enjoy this kind of content, and subscribe because I just try to upload daily. I already said that whenever I was stammering. Whatever. Have a good one. Thank you so much for watching, and deuces.